Welcome back to Viewer Discretion. David Dennis Jr., my co-host, is joining me on Tuesday night. So
yes.
This should be hitting yours Wednesday morning. David, are you standing on business tonight, wherever you are?
I want to lay down under a blanket under business. I think this is the end of stand on business as a phrase, unless our good friend Perk says it is done. It is done. This has killed the phrase.
Full disclosure, before we started taping it yesterday, but also again today, by the way, of course, we're here to recap Love Island, the last week of Love Island. I texted David, help me talk about the show when I hate almost everyone on it. I need you to pull me back from the ledge and help me find some positivity, because my dislike level for this cast is through the roof right now.
I think so. I had a take for this that was going to make you feel better, and I'm not sure that was before tonight's episode. So I had something going to make you feel better. Was that last season? Everybody was kind of at their worst after Casa Amor, right? Like there was all the dudes looked like doofuses. There was the big fights. All that stuff, like post Casa Amor, felt like the worst version of last season's people. And I was like, we're just in that little rough patch. We're in that rough patch. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think we're just... So here's my new take. Here's the new take on this one. Is I feel like at some point, maybe last week, the producers realized that there were people gaming the show, that the show was like everybody was trying to win, and like not just win the show, but come out as these lovable celebrities. All the girls were getting along. Ace was trying to do this pristine thing. And I think the producer said, we need to jumpstart some sort of action to get this thing feeling more authentic and break people out of the characters that they present in the show. And I think it's worked too good, because I'm with you. It's Amaya, Papaya, and the world. That's about it.
Before we get to our discussion of tonight's episode and the challenge, I do want to take a moment to issue an Amaya culpa. I have been dramatically underrating our girl in the power rankings. That will be rectified at the end. She is by far the most likable person left. A true, genuine, pure soul, a giver of memes, a one-line machine. And looking at social media, I think the only person who everybody likes, which is accurate.
Right. Yeah. So there was a turning point in this season for Amaya Papaya, and that is when Taylor played Clarke, and everybody thought Olandria was going home, and Amaya, who had been made fun of for quote unquote overreacting and crying and all these things, turned into a whole new little demon, and I thought she was going to charge at Taylor, and I think from that moment on, she's been batting 1,000. She's been pitching a perfect game ever since that moment, and it's been nothing but Amaya Papaya, just the memes, her coming out of her shoes, all of the stuff that she's been doing has been just A1 stuff. And shout out to our guy, Chris, who was the only person who I think, somebody else who's the only person who looked up and said, hey, Amaya, she's fine. Like she's got it all.
Well, Elon, I don't know if I'm saying his name, Elan. I feel like he did say in that moment, he's like, I know she's got a great heart. Like the Casa boys, I like better. Than the OGs. I like a lot of the Casa girls better than the OGs. I think if there's one thing I feel, it's just kind of pure disdain for both the male and female OGs. Okay, so I, by the way, took listener feedback, and they accurately pointed out that since nobody's in legitimate couples, it's stupid to recap the show by couples. So I'm not going to do that. We're going to talk about tonight's challenge, the stand-up business challenge, and then through that challenge, we could talk about some of the other things that have happened over the last week, because I think this challenge kind of did a good job of basically nailing every controversy involving every cast member. You mentioned Taylor. We should start with Taylor because that was the final reveal. So for those who don't know, the Islanders had to get up and read anonymous, although I think almost every single one of them was owned up to messages basically saying stuff about them. And Taylor, unsurprisingly... Do you think
this will replace movie night, by the way? There were some people wondering if this is going to replace movie night.
No. I do fear it might replace the tweets one where they find out what the outside world thinks of it, because I think that one's really important.
Yeah.
I don't know, personally. Okay, so Taylor, unsurprisingly, both of his notes were about switching it up, so to speak, on Olandria. One was anonymous, one was from Olandria. He was asked, like, how do you have like this connection? You're like, how are you still going back and forth? How'd you get this connection suddenly with Clarke?
Yeah.
And he's like, I just get a different feeling from her. It's like a little kid feeling. Olandria interrupts to say, how old are you?
Not quite relevant to what he said. He feels like, okay, whatever.
I've really turned on her, but I've turned on all of them. But so Olandria says in her message, stop acting like a little which this is not why I actually feel, and then she just basically kind of loses it on him.
Right. Yeah.
So a couple thoughts about this. I want to hear your thoughts about her, because up till this point, even after Taylor strung her along, barely showed interest, then dumped her, chose Clarke, multiple things happened along the way, made it very clear he wasn't interested. She, up till this point, has been pretty kind to Taylor.
Yeah.
Still act like some might say delusional about their connection.
Yeah.
But she finally loses it in this challenge. So my two thoughts were, one, I was thinking about how she told Huda earlier, well, you might crash out, but I won't.
Yeah.
It's kind of rude, by the way. But anyways, that's on my mind. And then the other is like, I actually did not mind this. I just wish it happened way earlier. I think I was much more annoyed by the delusional Andrea, all of that. So I want to hear your thought on her basically losing it on him, and whether you feel like at this point she deserves blame for the fact that she held on to hope until that far.
Olandria is tough because like there are times where I'm like, this person is absolutely delusional. And also Taylor, to his credit, this whole thing about like playing both sides and all that stuff, I don't necessarily think he is. Like he turned on her from the moment that he met Clarke. Like that thing was done from the moment he met Clarke. And sometimes, like, I know it sucks and I know it may feel unfair. He just likes Clarke more. For whatever reason, he likes Clarke more. And like from the moment Clarke showed up on the show, Taylor has been a different person, even outside of being around her. He's like, maybe it's the editing, but he's just sort of expressing himself more. He seems more comfortable. And he kind of let us in a little bit because he told Clarke, I don't have to be on my P's and Q's around you. And she was kind of like, it was kind of like the Anakin meme where he was like, does that mean you like have to? And he was like, sure. Really what it actually meant was, it felt like it meant something like Olandria maybe just has higher standards for him, or he doesn't have to like be as whatever, whatever. For whatever reason, he's more comfortable with Clarke, right? And he just likes her more. And he's entitled to that. And she's also entitled to black out on him because he like they're both kind of right. And I'm not sure why we pitting one as wrong in this situation.
I think his error was, to your point, I think since he ended up meeting Clarke, he has been pretty crystal clear that he prefers her. Yes. To me, if there's anything that he deserves criticism for, it's how he acted before then. Yes. Because I think before that moment, he was pretending to be more interested. I do believe in Olandria than he was, and perhaps stringing her along. But girl, the second you walked back in with Nic and he was more excited to see Nic.
Yes, when he crawled over Nic, when the scene, like when Olandria's sitting up in the bed and he jumps over her and hugs on Nic, and Nic picks him up and he goes, wee, in a circle in the morning. And then he's like, hey, Olandria, what's up? Like, that's it. That should be the moment where it's done.
So I do have some issues with things that Olandria did this week and in this episode. This was not one of them for me. No. I do not have a problem with her reading Taylor, even if I do think she acted delusionally at a point. I mean, God, I think it was yesterday's, not today's, where Chelley was like, well, Taylor should be on your list. And I'm like, you're not being real friends right now.
Yeah.
How do you not all see this? And also it's funny, like, it's not just the way Taylor speaks about Clarke. In every scene, they're in the background, like laying on each other.
Like snuggling, and he's
okay, wait. Okay, I have an epiphany about this season before we move on. Taylor and Clarke. I think this season of Love Island has the two worst kissers I've ever seen on reality television. One is Taylor, who it was actually a revelation to see him kiss Clarke and realize, oh, he's just
that's just how he is. The Meemaw kisses. Why are we doing Meemaw kisses? He looks like an anteater doing that.
What he looks like. So I have a 2-year-old. There's this book called The Pout Pout Fish. David, you might remember this from years ago. It honestly has some alarming lessons about consent or lack thereof. But there's a moment where the pout pout fish who hates everybody gets kissed by the female fish, and it reminds me so much of the way Taylor.
That actually looks like Taylor kissing Huda right there. Like that's kind of what it looks like.
Well, that brings me to the other worst kisser in the villa, because I swear to God, every time we're gonna talk about her and Chris, but every time she kisses a man, she looks like a dog eating a puppuccino.
It's just there's at one point where they're doing the challenge, and she just sticks her tongue out, and somebody just licks her tongue from top to bottom, which I've never seen in my entire life.
Where did these people does Jesse just not know how to kiss? Do we have a real crisis on our hands?
I think Huda was busy training for other skills than
Good to know.
I don't think they teach kissing in those classes. So.
One final thing, though, Olandria, and them, they basically push Taylor. They're like, make a choice. And he's like, fine, I pick Clarke, as if it wasn't already obvious. And, I'm actually glad that it finally came to that. It's, the show ends there. It's supposed to be this dramatic moment. There's nothing dramatic about it. It's been clear as day forever. But I don't know. Hopefully it'll finally put a pin on that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying that for 3 days. So to give Olandria a little bit more grace, it is quick, right? It is quick to realize this thing after 2 or 3 weeks with this dude, and then you pick somebody, and then you kind of got to move on after 2 days. I could see her especially we've seen this something similar last season. They've all seen last season. We saw Buddy come back from Casa Amor, get cursed out in Casa Amor after Casa Amor for coming back with his lady, and then they end up winning the show. Maybe she feels like this is our moment of that, because also she's been like, we've been through so much, we've been tested through and I'm like, what did you go? What have you been through?
I keep saying that you've been through him not liking you, and you have to overcome that.
Right, that's not. Disagreeing on who likes apricots. Is that what I don't know what you've been through besides that. I don't get what they've worked through.
The other message delivered in this challenge that I think is worth acknowledging in this conversation is Olandria only gets one, and it's Clarke who says, I was bothered by the fact that when I recoupled with him, or at least actually this was before, it was in Casa or the villa, but when she came back, you kind of implied that I was just a test and we only had a physical connection. Olandria was like, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean it that way. Basically, I thought this was completely fine interaction. I don't have strong feelings about it, but I do like that Clarke stood up for herself. And I want to say I like Clarke.
I like Clarke. I mean, people have been trying to find reasons to hate Clarke. She says stuff under her breath. She just got there. She liked the dude. He likes her. He likes her more than he likes the other girl. They're together. She's not doing anything wrong. I'm sorry.
I thought Olandria was also fine in her apologies. I'm not a lot to discuss there. All right. Trying to decide when we get to Ace and Chelley and Huda and all that. Let's talk about briefly Nic and Cierra. So they're not. I don't think Nic is even shown going up there, unless I missed it. Cierra gets asked about eliminating Hannah. Put a pin in that one when we talk about Pepe, because I did find that very interesting. She also gets asked about them, having sex loudly in the bedroom. Were you surprised that not a single person in there asked, were you not bothered by your bestie and your man testing their connection? Did you think any of the Islanders were going to bring that up with either of them, either Nic or Cierra?
I thought Iris was maybe asked that, but maybe I guess
had the conversation with her. Right?
Yeah, she had the conversation.
No, it's kind of weird that he was inside of you. Iris.
Iris also leveling up. She was pretty good. She was when we talked about the people talking about Olandria and not being real with her, Iris was the first person I like the most. People are either enablers or brutally mean for no reason. Iris was kind of like, this is kind of weird. But anyway, I've thought that she would ask, but also not a lot of people know about it, I don't think, right? And so I'm not sure if it was told in confidence to just a few people, right? Because Nic has not told anybody, I don't think. Because I'm not sure if Taylor knows. Taylor or Ace, I'm not sure if they know. And Cierra told Iris, and I think she told like Chelley, and of course Olandria knows, but it's not really well known that this has happened. So maybe that's why this has not come up to the larger group.
It feels like a ticking time bomb.
Yes.
For movie night. Because I believe that both Nic and Olandria, very much so underrepresented.
Yes.
The great Nicolandria episode of 2025.
One of the great moments. Just like Nic, to quote Nic, the greatest 25 seconds of my life. It was just great. It allowed us to dream. It allowed us to believe in something better than ourselves. It allowed us to hope. It was an amazing 24 hours of my life that I thought that I sent you a text that said, is this the great TV romantic kiss of our generation? A la like a Ross and Rachel, like, you know, I thought we were at that level. Jim Pam, you know, Maxine and Kyle. I thought we were there. And we're down 3-1 right now. But Nicolandria, we're coming back.
I guess we should mention that Nic and Cierra closed things off, went on a date, nothing to talk about there. But I went back and like looked at my notes from the Nicolandria episode.
Yeah.
Because this is just to be like, how bad is this if it gets shown? It's bad.
It's bad. Like, that man said a lot of things to her. And the thing, we kissed and we realized that we did. That man was giddy after that. He was giddy.
He told her he kept saying she's one of the most beautiful women he's ever seen in his life. He was attracted to her. That's why he kept picking her. She calls him Nicky Poo. And he's like, now I'm Nic to you.
Yeah.
But they make out outside of a challenge. He's wearing the gold chain and the Timbs, which the internet had a field day with. And it's like electric.
Yes.
She's biting his lip.
Yes.
And I'm like, how do you endure the pout fish?
Yes.
And then go to that and still be like, nope, pout fish is the one for me.
Hottest kiss of the season. Like, by far.
Do you think they were, okay, so there's two things here. One is the ticking time bomb aspect. We'll get to that. But I want to ask you, like, do you think they were ever into each other? Because then the next day they're like, haha, that was funny. Let's move on. No,
Nic says, you go first.
Yeah, huge.
And so I think that Nic knew he could catch the vibes. Like, he knew the vibes. He knew that she was still aiming for Taylor. He knew where she was. And I think Nic, from that moment on, has been a sad person. I think that Nic is still in mourning of the love of his life, like slipping through his fingers. I really think that's where we are. Because I think that he has feelings for Olandria that are stronger. Because even since then, right? Cierra at the picnic, she was like, you know, I guess I'm your dream girl. And he's like, yep. But he has said like more things.
Not in it
yes,
anymore.
He's seen there's sadness in his eyes when he ever says that. That man is brokenhearted. And YN Nic wants to be with his love of his life, Olandria. That's what he really wants.
I don't think Olandria was ever into Nic. I hate to break it to Nicolandria. I think you're right that he was into her and would have pursued things. I think she always just saw him as like a fun thing. And like she comes back and Taylor's with another girl. And it was something, you know, to do.
I think she was just, she's distracted by the Taylor thing. I wish she had a clear heart, clear mind to like really get into the Nic thing because he's given her all the energy that she wants. Do
you think he's her type?
So that's the thing. I don't know. Like, I don't know if she messes with white
around.
dudes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I don't know if she messes with white dudes. I don't know.
I wasn't asking you that without.
All right, Olandria, Alabama, HBCU, this like traditional idea of things. And like, I'm not sure if she ever considers like dating or being with a white dude. And especially like going on TV. I mean, one of the things that is a constant thread, Love is Blind, all these things, all these women, AD, when they go on her show, they all talk about the fact they need to feel like they need to sort of protect these black men and stand with these men and do all this stuff. And there's that kind of weight when you do these reality shows. And I think like Olandria is somebody who, from her background and what we kind of know about her and this like way that she carries herself is very like until that end, to the last 5 minutes of this episode is very, buttoned up, very private. Does not, she carries a certain, aura about her. And I'm not sure that aligns with somebody who would go to the show and come back with a like curly haired white dude when her first choice is a country black guy like Taylor.
I don't think that, like I said, she was ever serious about pursuing him. I do think that if this footage plays, we'll probably get like one episode of Cierra being really upset, but she seems pot committed to being a cool girl, as Iris puts it correctly. So I think it'll be like dramatic briefly, but I don't think it'll be a deal breaker. But going back and looking at my notes, I was like, damn.
But I have not. Nick has not expressed the way that he expressed. That man was giddy. That man was kicking his feet up after they made out. He rolled over, buried his head in the pillow, and kicked his feet up in his black Timbs and Taylor's jeans and like Jeremiah's chain, and had the night of his life.
It was a great episode. R.I.P. All right. Let's do Amaya here. My girl. Amaya Papaya.
Yes.
I'm now a card-carrying member of Papaya Nation. Amaya steps up. First note, you cry more than you're needed. You move too fast. She starts crying, and then she says, it's from Austin, who owns it.
Yeah.
She starts crying, and then she says, look at a crying. God forbid I'm a sensitive gangsta. Mm-hmm. I'm just not your cup of tea to be drinking. So drinking it. I don't know. She just bent out the one-liners. Yeah. So Austin's like, I really don't know why he did this. Honestly, it was rude as hell. Yeah. And then Ace says time out, and everybody shuts up because they're all his minions. And then he brings up the whole babe stuff. He's clearly still pressed about the fact that I guess maybe people think he's a bad guy in that.
He knows he looks bad from that. I think he knows he looks bad from that.
He also says, I'm not the book that everybody should be reading. Mm-hmm. I hated this. I hated these guys ganging up on her. I hated them even more than I already do. I was, the one, Zach, who kind of sucks, goes at her too. The only guy who stood up for her was Brian, who says, coming from a Hispanic household, we call each other babe. You talk about her having to meet you halfway, but how about you having to meet her halfway? And I was like, Brian. Yeah. Brian, you'll benefit from this in my power rankings. And that was pretty much it. I just wanted to, like, there's not that much else to say about her arc, I suppose, this week. It seems like the Zach thing isn't happening. Maybe Elon's shown some interest. But I thought that was a really ugly moment for those three guys.
It was. And I think this is a bigger, like, this is almost like Halle Berry-ism, or like something, where you have these women who, like, when men sort of have this opinion of them, it makes other men want to have that opinion of them based on, based on like approval from the men as opposed to what the actual woman is about, right? So Ace started this rolling downhill, which is ironic because Austin says everybody follows Ace, but Austin kind of followed Ace in the way that he treated Amaya, because Ace started this thing about her being too affectionate, too clingy, all this stuff, and then Austin joined in, which she was a little bit extra, but when presented with the opportunity to say something, he did not say anything.
Yes.
And Amaya just sort of gained this reputation based on these bros and these dudes and how these dudes talk about her that really she did not earn, right? She had like a couple of moments. Really the Ace thing, she didn't earn at all. She wasn't moving too fast for Ace at all. He picked her. She called him babe, and then he started gaslighting her like crazy. She was a little bit more affectionate with Austin than he was ready for. And then that fizzled out, and then she moved on. And there's nothing, she hasn't really been doing anything wrong, but it's just these guys getting in the corner, talking about each other, or talking to each other about a woman and making her look a certain way, when the guys on the outside, Chris and Elan, are like, she's kind of she's kind of got it going on. And and it's really about this hive mind of broness instead of like her.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that's what felt like empowered them to do this in this format. And that's what I hated. Like, look, you don't have to like her. You don't have to be romantically interested in her. You can think she's a little bit much. I probably would too if I was in the villa. But this is a woman who's been kind to literally every single person. Clearly has been through a lot. Clearly is quite sensitive. The pylon was gross. That's why and then they they turned it on each other, and that was weird too. So we go to Ace here because that kind of actually follows off of that. So he was asked by Amaya, if you and Chelley are so strong, why'd you close it off? He said she's still exploring. We'll get to that issue with Chelley. That's more of an issue there. Austin brings up what you said. People have sucked up to you. What do you say? You have the Ace posse. Jeremiah was damned if he did, damned if he didn't. Ace gets mad.
Yes.
So I guess I want to get your thought. Like, were you surprised that Ace got so mad at Austin in that moment?
It's the alpha male. This is why this is alpha male stuff, right? From Ace. And I think that's what that was about. He got pressed by a dude and Ace said it. He's 6'5", I'm 5'10", and I'm the boss. You know what I'm saying? Like there's all that stuff that Ace is doing, and he doesn't like getting pressed. And he was already up in his feels about Amaya, and I think he doesn't like getting clocked for stuff, and I think he doesn't like that this could influence how people think about him.
If that man is 5'10", then I'm the queen of England. But he defends himself about the Jeremiah thing too by same argument. He asked Raina, was he into you? She's like, yeah. And he's like, see, he was love bombing her. Total nonsense. 2 examples of people defending, we'll get to the Cierra one, the oustings that made no sense.
Yes.
He turned, and this is why, Ace is smart, dude. He turns it on Austin. So I don't even know. I have to go back and rewind.
I don't know what happened.
How he did it.
All right.
But suddenly, he turned it on Austin about how he was two-faced about Amaya, which is honestly true.
Yeah.
And suddenly, Amaya's getting in a fight with Austin. Master manipulator at work there somehow.
Yeah, and Austin also looks like he kind of looks like the dude that we were waiting for from the social media, right? Yeah. The way he was talking to Maya, this doesn't concern you, don't, all that stuff. Like he kind of gets ugly.
It's a tough episode for him because he's been super Mr. Chill, fly under the radar, kind of like surfery dude and no drama. And he's kind of escaped the allegations,
Yes,
and I think today was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Great.
Him and Ace, they share that in common. Like when you see what happens when they're pressed against the wall, who they really are, and we kind of saw it from them.
So Chelley gets asked a question by Ace, who signs it, and he says, "Why do you want boundaries for us both, but want to explore with others?" So this is related to Chelley being upset about Huda and him in the challenge. I genuinely do not understand their relationship at this point. Explain to me what, I will get to the challenge, the Huda dance. I don't know what else to call it. Heart rate challenge. There's only one thing that really mattered. But I, for the life of me, cannot understand what the hell's going on with Ace and Chelley right now. What is your
I don't know what they were arguing about.
Yeah, it was like watching a couple's fighting. You're like, what are you fighting about?
I don't know what they were arguing about. I think because I don't understand it. I don't know if you are a believer of this is a scam or whatever, then you would say that they are manufacturing an argument here. But I don't know what the argument is. The argument here is that Huda, they're open, but Chelley is kind of with Chris, but Chelley's not with Chris, and Chelley's mad that Chris moved on to Huda, and then Huda does the thing to Ace, and then Ace is mad because she doubled back with Chris when all that, I don't understand. This envelope challenge, this stand on business challenge was the first time that I watched this show, because you get enamored with these people, and the first time I was like, I'm watching children, I'm watching kids argue, and they're doing, and all the emotional intelligence is going out the window. And also, Chelley, again, you're 27 and he's 22. Why are you arguing with this man like this? Chris is a man, by the way. He seems like a better dude. He seems like he's a more emotional, mature dude than this. Like, I don't understand what's going on.
How would you not prefer him to every man? We're going to get to him, but he's by far my favorite dude left. Sorry to spoil the power rankings, and it's not close.
Right.
It's not close. I guess. Okay, so it kind of felt like she, for the first time in that conversation, Ace is basically saying, are we closed off or not? Right? Like, what's the deal? And I think Ace is just very upset that he's lost control of the situation.
Yes.
I think that's what's driving it. Like, he as always, like, he wants to be the alpha. When it was first brought up that, like, Chris might be interested in Chelley, he was like, oh, I'm going to love competing with him. And then flash forward, like, less than 24 hours later, he does not want to compete with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think he's kind of expressing, he's just very frustrated that this woman is not following along the playbook that he wants for the relationship. Yeah. I don't think he's entirely wrong to be, I really dislike a lot of what he says and does, but I don't think he's wrong that to his initial question to her, which is like, what's the deal? Are you mad at me for the challenge thing, or do you want to explore? I don't think that's wrong. I don't think it's wrong, because also I think Cierra actually made a good point. Like, you guys probably should have discussed boundaries before you went out there, because let's be clear, she did double back with Chris and did a full standing split with him coming back around, which, as upset as she is about the Huda thing, I would be just as upset if I were him. If I were just like, yo, we like Huda, at least she did whatever unspeakable thing she did to me that, like, nobody else that happened, but that was her, like, laying me, like, doing this thing to me, right? You circled back on this dude and really went at it with him. I think they're both could be, like, upset with each other. Chris is your actual love interest, like, Ace and Huda. There's nothing there.
Right.
Huda then also asks Chelley, if it's just a challenge in the past, why are you so mad at me? Chelley gets mad at her. Huda then apologizes again and says she effed up. She hates that she upset her. She asks her for forgiveness. Chelley just says, I'm done, and walks away. Well, that brings me to Huda. So we should just talk about this now, the dance and the conflict between them, because it was legitimately confusing to me at various points. The Ace part's not confusing. I think she was mad at her for what happened. So Huda gets up, lots of questions. Nic says, you should have been gone, not Hannah. She's like, thank you for your candor. It's kind of funny, actually.
It kind of felt like some of the people were like, I guess I have to write something about somebody. You know, like, it just kind of like the Austin and Amaya thing and the Nic and Huda thing. It just kind of felt like maybe Nic felt, because he had already said that to Huda like a couple hours before, that if he wrote it would be harmless. It felt like people were just writing stuff just to write it because they had to play the game. Like, I don't know why Nic sent her that.
Most of the questions for Huda were actually about Chris, which was shocking to me, and not actually about the dance. So let's take a big quick moment and talk about the dance. This is the most time in my life I've ever said dance. Okay, so this is
it's a phrase I've never heard before in my life, so I love that you're describing it as such. I don't
know how else to describe it. During the Heartbeat Challenge, it was like couples, and they were tag teaming other couples, and obviously Huda was doing the most because, she's got gifts.
Which everybody pales in. This feels like the dunk contest after the year after Vince Carter won, because Janae, if you recall from last year, had a generational performance that nobody will ever repeat again. And everybody tried. They just went to, like, straight up being
making out. So, everybody was just making out. I feel like Janae actually, like, had moves, and Miguel did the fire thing with Leia's mouth, which was crazy. They were just making out with people for the most part. But Huda was doing stuff. And a lot of headstand with the butt. I've been to clubs. I'm aware of this move.
That's a very specific move. It's not a thing that you just. It's very specific. Yeah,
one that you don't usually see on television. Maybe unless it's like 1 a.m. and you're watching TNT and they're playing Hustlers. Okay, so after Chelley gets mad immediately after the dance, and.
But we don't know what she did exactly.
Yeah, so she gets mad. She tells the girls. They're all on her. Huda complains. There's a lot of controversy and drama over it. And it's so weird because this heart rate challenge, we see everything. There's multiple camera angles. What actually transpires between Huda and Ace is kind of hard to see. TikTok has broken it down like a Zapruder film.
Yeah.
Like, did she actually put her in his face? David, I want to get your thoughts. The only thing I saw clearly was at one point they were making out and he was full on grabbing her and moving it around. That's the only thing I really saw. Do you have any theories as to what happened and why Chelley was so bad?
Well, I just saw the reactions from this is like in No Country for Old Men when old dude dies off camera. You don't know what, like you just know he's dead, but you don't actually see it.
Is the old man in this metaphor Ace's?
Yes, that's what it is. That's basically what it is.
Off camera, but you know what happened.
You know it, right? So whatever it was, we saw Andreda's like the horror on her face, and then we saw the horror on some people's face, and then we saw, and so whatever it happened clearly crossed the line.
I guess it's hard though, because with the edits too, I think some of them were also reacting to Chelley getting upset. Yeah, right? Like, because you see the horror faces, but it's after Shelley's like, screw that. So it's like, are their mouths agape? Are they like shocked because of what Huda did, what Ace did, what Chelley did? I don't know. Everyone seems to agree that Huda did go too far. So I will say that. I think it's okay that Chelley was upset by it. Fine. Yeah. I do not like the fact that she didn't hold Ace accountable at all. Yes. Again, the only thing I saw was him grabbing. Yeah. And she not only did not hold him accountable, went out of her way to be like, I'm not mad at you. Yes. Yeah. I thought that was some.
And they are talking about Huda being like not being a girl's girl and all this stuff when like your man was part of it. You know, like he was
totally. Yeah. It's kind of a through line, I feel like, with these OG girls. Is letting their men off the hook and getting mad at other women. Yeah. Cierra not asking about Nicolandria. Olandria letting Taylor get away with it for so long until the end. Yeah. And I think Chelley multiple times now has let Ace kind of make her look stupid.
Yeah. And it's kind of only come up because Ace, like if Ace had to let the Chris thing go, she wouldn't have, she was more upset because he was upset about the Chris thing.
Okay, so let's talk about the Chris thing. Because I thought most of the anger towards Huda would be about the dance or maybe people calling her out on Jeremiah's stuff. But it is all about Chris. This is where I was truly befuddled because based on what we have viewers have seen, it made no sense to me. Chelley says, you got to practice what you preach. Taylor's like, she says Huda claims she brought back Chris for her. Huda's like, I also liked him, there was a scene from Casa where Huda tells Chelley that she likes Chris. Did you remember that? So this is not like...
Yeah, there's a scene, towards the end before they kind of make their decision. She says, hey, I like this dude. And Shelley's like, go for it. Knock yourself out.
That's
like,
why
it's all good.
Watching this, I'm like, what is happening? Like, again, as viewers, at this point, Chelley and Chris are clearly having a thing. Like, what's going on here? Then, while Huda and her kind of going back and forth, Olandria pipes in and is like, well, would you mind telling the class what happened when you kissed in the speakeasy or something? And her and Cierra kind of smirk at each other. What the hell is happening? Why? Okay, setting aside.
I mean, Olandria, do you want to share the class with like?
But also, like, why? Okay, like she acted like that was this like bombshell, and I'm like, they're in a couple. Like, I'm like, what am I missing here? Can you help me make sense of this? Because I was so confused.
I don't get it either. I think Chelley, I think she honestly likes Chris more than she's letting on or than she wants anybody else to know. And if we are of the belief that her and Ace are still like they came in this thing together, she's really conflicted because she actually likes this dude, but is bound to Ace because they're trying to win this thing together. If that is your theory, right?
And that's why Ace is so mad about it.
That's why Ace is mad. Like she is actually like veering. Again, you said Ace likes to have control. He's been, this is veering off of the plan, right? This is veering off the plan where she's actually liking this dude and she's tied into somebody that she's semi-closed off with. And now she actually likes him, and it's upsetting her that now Huda and this dude are getting together.
I feel like I like that theory. When I watch Ace and Chelley, it always feels like we're missing something. Like there's some unspoken thing happening. Like, why is she so mad about the Huda thing? Why was she so cool with him exploring other connections? Why did he have zero obvious interest in Coco, who's like the most beautiful woman I've ever seen?
Yes.
Like it all feels like that they're dancing around or hiding some unspoken commitment to each other.
Yes.
And that doesn't have to be like, hey, we're gonna like, this is the exact journey we're gonna do so that we win. I just goes back to my original belief that this whole time they have obfuscated a bit to the other islanders. That they, again, I'm not saying they had a whole secret relationship, but there was something there. And it kind of feels like that is the missing piece that adds a layer to all of these like emotionally fraught things that keep happening around them.
And also, if you don't totally trust this person, I'm bound to this relationship, right? Because if I'm going to step out, they're going to expose that we had a deal. Like, imagine Chelley says, I'm picking Chris, and Ace is like, whoa, we agreed to this like 2 months ago that this was, you know what I'm saying? Like there's that also, and talk about things that are unspoken. Chelley, there's like a nighttime thing where Chelley is like laid up with Ace. That's a woman that is extremely comfortable sleep with that. She was like, nah. Like everybody's like keeping it cute and doing things. She was like all over him, like drool on her mouth. Like she's, if you want to dig into the theory, the conspiracy, it's very comfortable being in the bed with that man.
I have not dissuaded at all from our belief about that.
Yes.
Chris gets asked by Cierra, who's going to drop in my power rankings, has done a lot of things this week that have kind of brought her down for me. Do you just want a spot in the villa because you seem to change your mind quickly?
I don't know where that came from.
Chelley didn't choose him. Like, it's like the OG girls are like, oh, you betrayed Chelley.
And he said it himself. He said it multiple times in the lead up to going after Huda. He said, I was really interested in Chelley. She didn't seem interested in me. She seems to have picked Ace. Let me go explore something else. Which, by the way, they were kicking people off the island for not doing that, by the way. And so he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do.
No, it's only okay to be open if you're a certain person, and it's only, the double standards are crazy this season with the OGs. Then Chelley jumps in and says the switch up is insane. If you just wanted to come to the villa, you should have said that. It's Chris, to his credit, keeps it super cool. And it's like, I like Huda. I don't know what you guys are saying. And okay, so Huda also gets asked, sorry, I should have said this about this as well. Hence the, tell everyone you spoke in the speakeasy. She's like, I kissed him. I liked him. Like, what is... The OG girls seem to be insinuating that Huda has pretended she doesn't like Chris, was just telling Chelley he's here for you, and then stole him from her.
Yes.
That is not square
That's
at
not
all
what
with what
you see that
on
at all.
TV.
Now, we could be mad at Huda for like what she did with Pepe and Hannah and all that stuff. Like, that was kind of messed up.
Yeah.
But this was not that.
I genuinely like Chris in all of his interactions. That man is like the best conflict resolution person. Resolver of conflict I've ever seen.
Even in the face of Huda hooding about those pancakes. Again, no more Bisquick in the villa, please.
I'm like taking notes. She of course she does it again. You're like, oh no, and he's like, yeah, I'm really sorry you felt that way. And then he keeps it moving. And I'm literally writing this oh my god, how do I? And she got over it immediately. I was watching that like, wow.
Now, Chris, as much as I love Chris, my Chelley amour was not
true. That was bad.
That was not the moment of poetic, of lyricism that you thought it was. But also Chelley says, I have had a song made for me. And if you recall, there was that clip of Ace asking people to sing the Chelley song about him in February. We connected the dots.
Before we move on to the final person, I don't know why I said Pepe for last, but we're going to talk about Pepe last. Do you think Chris and Huda make sense together? They make out. the aforementioned kiss in the speakeasy. She does okay. Like so, I don't want people to think that they're calling her fans the hood rats, I believe, on social. It's all problematic. She still has some pretty dumb moments, like when she's talking to Chris about the dance, and she says, "Well, would it be better if I was ugly?" I was like, "Oh, give me, But
they're still the victimized. They're still like the way she talked to him about the pancake. There's still like all of those things are still very much there, but she is not. She's not nearly what they have painted her out to be in that moment, right? Because you could see it brewing because you could tell that Olandria, Chelley, and Cierra wrote their questions together, right? And you could tell that they were part of. They used some of the same language that they were in. That was clear that they did that together. And she goes to Olandria and says, "Am I a horrible person?" Olandria's like, "Grilled cheese," just kind of walks away, which I don't,
Yeah, I am not absolving her of she has done and said some really problematic stuff, but I'm in agreement with you that this particular thing, as it pertains to Chris, is just unless maybe on movie night they'll show a clip of her saying to Chelley, "I don't like him. I just want him for you."
Right. Yeah.
But we haven't seen it. From what we've seen, she didn't have a man. JD sucked. JD with a smile, and she moved on, and she found a guy who likes her, and he seems to legitimately like her, and he is delightful. Okay. The final person who was asked a question, I want to bring this up, was Pepe.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked him if Pepe, we know you don't like Grayson as much, from Anonymous. And he's basically like, yeah, I don't. But he also asks Cierra.
Do you think Pepe wrote that question to himself?
Wait, I got a question for you after we're done with this part. That makes me think of that. He asks the question of Cierra that I want to bring up, which is he's basically like, "Why'd you ask Hannah?" That was and he signs.
Yeah.
Sierra's answer was so dumb. It made no freaking sense. And although she goes like, yeah, she's exactly right. Yeah. Basically, it came down to, well, Amaya hadn't been given a fair shot, and Iris, there was something promising with TJ. And you were just locked in tunnel vision, but look, you've moved on and you're happier now.
And he's like, "No, I'm not."
Immediately. But also, like,
he's like, Did you not hear the sneaky strokes? Like,
I legitimately believe this man really misses Hannah. Like, I think he's gonna bounce soon and go be with her. I just thought it was garbage. Like, to me, it was just emblematic of like the constant double standards that the OGs, both the men and the women, there's two groups of three. And they both, there's the Ace posse and then this gang, the Chelley gang. And actually, I don't know if Cierra might be the leader, but in any case, so I don't want to put that on Chelley. The three of them are equal leaders. Ace is the leader.
Yes.
I thought that was BS. That's all. I wanted to highlight that. Pepe also friend zones Andrena, by the way. After Brian says she's boring. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, somebody posted on, like, I think Reddit, that Michael B. Jordan has started liking Andrena's photos. He was like, and I saw that and I was like, that's right.
Yeah, that's your range. That's where you go. That's where you want to go. You don't need this anymore.
Why try to like riz Brian? Michael,
right. Michael B. Jordan, like when she leaves the island, none of those dudes will ever hear from her again. It's been nice knowing you. I think if you watch Love Island and Ramsey's and Marissa's conversations about politics, Love is Blind. You'll know a little bit about what was going on with Pepe and and Trent. Just throwing that out there.
Pepe is a type.
Yes.
And you know what? Like, everyone's entitled to their type.
It's hard to break, generations of.
I like Hannah. Every interview I've seen with her since the villa has made me like her more.
Yeah. She seems really cool, and I think she's come around on the girls. She was upset, and I get her being upset. There was she had two connections get messed up.
All right, my last question for you is, as I reshuffle my power, I'm going to power rank everybody this week. Okay. If I just did the OGs, it would be too hateful. What question do you think should have, or message, perhaps anonymously, should have been delivered that wasn't? Obviously, Nicolandria is up there. We talked about that.
The Nicolandria one is up there. That's a good question. I think they asked about Hannah. I think there should have been more questions about. Oh, speaking of, when they did the deliberation about Olandria and when they kept Olandria after Casa, right? They showed the group conversation in that one. They showed the deliberation. They did. And we still have not gotten the one from Hannah and Jeremiah for some reason. I think that's
movie night.
Maybe that's movie night. Maybe it is. But movie night is usually something that we've seen that nobody else has seen. So it's very interesting why they did not show that. But I don't know. Question. I don't know if I have one, but I do have one thing.
All right.
Chris Amaya. It's time. The agenda. We're moving on to the agenda. I want them. There are two favorites. He spoke. She cried to him previous, or was it the other dude? JT was
JD was what she
guy?
cried to.
JD.
Yeah.
Oh, she cried to JT.
Zero interest in Maya. Just don't think she was on. Yeah.
Also, I liked Huda for moving on from that dude. When he was like, he liked to be down. Like that was a cool moment for her, and I thought that she was gonna, she deserves some credit for that.
People are killing that dude on TikTok with showing their dogs baring their teeth. The dog smiling. Okay. All right. I've bought enough time to redo my power rankings. Dramatic shakeup this week, as you can imagine. Truly some serious alterations here. All right. Yeah, like I can't even believe it. Honestly, I'm going to actually, wow, this is going to shock people. People aren't going to like this. All right, I'm ready. Let me get my board.
All right, let's do it.
Wipe the slate clean.
There are some people I respect so much who are refusing to judge Ace for anything, and it drives me absolutely crazy. I want to send the messages and have an intervention.
I have friends who have left comments defending Ace on various social platforms that are blowing my mind.
Good luck doing it after this one, because I don't.
Here we go. There's so many people, so I might have to do 2 rows. Yeah. Or write really small. For first 2, I think you can guess based on this episode thus far. Papaya Nation.
Papaya gang.
First in our hearts, first in the power rankings, first in the meme. And then number 2, Chris, by far the most likable guy left. Agree or disagree?
Yes. Agree. Lots of gratuity, or whatever she said, gratuitousness to them, whatever the word was she used.
Okay, number 3.
Gratitude.
I think she had another one. But you were right about the tacky thing that she being a medical term. I totally missed that. Okay. Number 3 and 4, 2 women, neither OGs.
Oh, she said. What did she say? She said, "There's what if there are more than what if there are more moons in space?" I think is what she said.
Love her. Okay, we go in Iris and Clarke at 3 and 4. I like them both.
Okay,
I like them both.
I like them. Iris kept it real with Cierra in a really cool way, and I think that her partner is a doofus, but she seems to genuinely like him.
Clarke, we already discussed. I think she's cool.
Yeah.
And has handled this all very well. Okay, next we go on Drana, who says she's never been friend zoned, and damn, do I believe that. All right.
I believe I made a loud noise when she came out for the challenge, and I started barking at my screen.
All right. It's really hard with some of these guys, but I'm going to put Pepe here. Look, he can like who he likes, but the truth is he's, I think, handled himself honorably. He's been actually treated the women like human beings. He's not an Ace follower. I don't think he's long for the villa. I think he's going to go be with Hannah, and that's fine. But I'm cool with Pepe. I feel like he's never said anything that's really made me look at him sideways.
I think friend zoning Andrea is a cardinal sin, but I get it. Whatever.
Okay, shocking twist. Brian jumps to 7. I don't even like him, but defending Amaya, this man.
Yeah, he defended Amaya. He's been harmless. He's been pretty harmless pretty boring, pretty stale, harmless. He said, and he was up front. He said, Mina and Drina are like, there's nothing there, but
put Elan here.
They were arm in arm during the challenge.
Yeah, nothing to say about Elan. But he did have a nice moment with Amaya Papaya. I think he seems likable. Yes. Honestly, every time they show him talking, he seems like pretty chill. He pissed off Nic by making out with Cierra. That was about.
Well, but you know what? That he kind of punked out with Nic a little bit.
Yeah,
like he kind of did.
I know he was like, "What? I'm gonna show my balls. I'm gonna stand up for it." And then Nic was like, "Okay."
Yeah. Nic was like, it was just an epiphany to make the pancakes. I just you stumbling and bumbling when YN Nic pressed you. You got to.
Okay, this is gonna be my most controversial ranking. Taylor at 9.
Oh.
He of all of these people stood on business in this challenge.
Yeah.
I feel like he is with a woman that he really likes.
Mm-hmm.
And he is finally appears to have cut off the previous. He honestly did before, but whatever.
Yeah. I think this week is fine, but I think we should retroactively make him lower because it is so clear from before that he was just not into Olandria. It's just like so much more clear now. Yeah. So it's like from the last 7 days, it's fine. But from the first 3 weeks, it was true borderline gaslighting or maybe trying to convince himself that he liked her, but saying all these things to clearly make her feel like they had something going on. And maybe she just, part of it was her deluding herself, but he made her feel like they had way more than they had. And the switch up only feels like a switch up because how he was in the previous weeks.
But I hear you, and I think he led her on. But like, I think if we go back and rewatch, he didn't really lead her on that much. I do.
Well, he did. He probably didn't nip it. He didn't nip it as much as he should. Maybe I should say that he didn't like tell her to pump. Wasn't like pump the brakes. He wasn't kind of like he just when they. Yeah, I think that's part of it. You know, he was talking about the thing growing, and I think maybe there should have been some sort of conversation about maybe you're into this a little bit more than I am. But
he's definitely guilty of before the Clarke. But since the Clarke switch up, he's been pretty damn clear.
He's been pretty honest. Yes.
Even the thing about, he said, well, I wanted to kiss you. He didn't say it in like a sexy way. It was in like a, I was being polite way. Like, I think he was trying to be nice to her after she put her butt in his face.
Yes. Yeah.
Girls. Yeah. Okay.
Because also he refused to kiss in the challenge. Like, if you're not even going to do that in the challenge, like, come on. People who hated each other. Amaya and Ace were making out in the challenge. Like, come on.
That was another incredible Amaya moment. Where your boundaries now to the camera.
Yes.
My queen. In a dramatic fall from grace, Nic and Cierra, who used to be my faves, really don't like a lot of the things Cierra has done over the last week. I'm not totally out on her. I also saw something on the internet that she posted. I've got to double check sourcing. It's not great. But there's too many things, too many red flags about her being kind of like the clique. I just didn't like her behavior. Wasn't egregious. But they have fallen for me.
Nic had an amazing first half of the week, of course, with the Nicolandria. And then, of course, saying, Clarke, no offense, but you just met this dude. I'm bringing Olandria back to give her another shot. Was a cool Nic standing by his queen moment. But I can't blame him too much. He's dead inside ever since he got his heart broken.
Rare moment of Nic not doing what Ace told him to do, by the way. That was interesting.
Yeah. Because, Ace is his homie, but Olandria is his one true love.
All right. Just going to put some randos who didn't do anything. I'll just throw Jaden and TJ here. Whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure. I'm going to put Huda next. Huda's not on the bottom anymore. So Huda comes in at 14 because she's with the best man in the villa. Yes. And
that raises her up.
In at least one controversy, we have marked her innocent. So she still has, she crossed a line in the challenge and said some dumb stuff after, but
it's like a one step. It's like there are moments where she's actually really likable. Like when she's like flirting with Chris, I'm like, I get it. I can see what the appeal is. And then and then stepping up to the dude and being like, the dominant thing and walking off. That was real cool.
All right. Also, dramatic fall from grace. Olandria at 15.
Woo! Below Huda. Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Look, like I said, I want to be clear. I'm not mad at her for getting mad at Taylor. It's the other stuff. The calling out Huda, kissing Chris, revealing that to people. Yeah. By the way, after Huda confided in her about it.
Yes.
Not cool.
After again, you're nobody, Cierra, Iris, nobody said, hey, what about you and Nic, and exposed that to the whole group, when you got your own secrets that you got going on. Not a good look.
It's a great point. A lot of the double standards are really bothering me with her. So yeah, I loved her. I loved Olandria.
Yeah. Even though that last thing where she finally told Taylor how she felt, even though it was a little too late, even though she was talking to him like they'd been married for 15 years, it is still, I washed your clothes at night and drove you to work, like all that stuff. Like it's not.
Gave you the years of my life.
Right. Come on. All right. Enough, Angela Bassett.
3 weeks and you were you barely made out.
Yes.
He kissed you like a fish.
Yeah.
Brutal. Okay.
When he looked at Clarke, and when he looks at Clarke, it just goes, it's just like, I can't take it.
Gonna put Zach and Grace in here. Zach, I feel like I don't like how he's moved. Grayson did nothing wrong, but your man basically told the world he's not into you. So you're out. You're done. I feel bad. I know nothing about you.
I think, she's out of here.
All right. So we're down to the final 3, unless I missed someone, which I probably did because I'm power ranking a zillion people. So this is going to make me some enemies. The final 3 are, in this order, Ace, Chelley, Austin.
I'll take it.
Okay.
I'll take it. Because you know what? Here's the thing about Austin, too, is that Hannah said after she left that Austin creeped her out.
Really?
And weirded her out. And I think that is the Austin vibe that everybody gets. Like, I think when most people spend a little bit of time with him, it's like, this dude is creeping me out. Because do we have on here the woman he's partnered with?
She's in the I didn't say anything about Jaden. Nothing happened.
Oh, Jaden, yeah, she's in there. Like I think she's kind of like, this dude is like, there's a vibe where she's kind of like, this dude's kind of weird. It just feels like he's weirding out a lot of people.
He came at the queen, and for that I will not forgive him. How do you feel about me having Ace over Chelley, though?
I get it. I think but I don't even separate them as people. They're like outcasts. Like they're just there together. Like they're just a group. They're just moved together. You don't pick one below the other one. And I don't even see you as ranking one above the other, but you can make your case because they like go hand in hand to me.
I just put him over Chelley because I feel like in this stand on business challenge, he made more sense to her most of the time.
Well, the whole thing, he's actually winning the argument with Chelley.
Winning the argument.
He's making more sense in the argument. He's making more sense in the argument with Chelley and making her explain it to the group. And it was so dastardly that he
somehow turned the Ace follower question into making Austin look like the bad guy. He won the power rankings against Austin. I do not like that man. And yet I respect his game. At this point, it's anyone's game, by the way, because I truly.
Yeah, who's winning this thing? Like, what? I don't know. Is it Nic and Cierra just gonna win, or like I don't know who's winning.
Next week is a popular vote. And I think we'll learn a lot about, because the season has been really confusing in a lot of ways. One of which is it's really hard to get a finger on the pulse of America.
Because also America's like trying to manipulate the show as opposed to like voting how they feel.
Right. Know? Like punishing Jeremiah that one time.
Right.
And I truly like, I was looking at different social platforms and they're all so divided. The only thing I know is America loves Amaya. So if any of these dudes actually legitimately couples up with Amaya, they're coasting to victory.
Cremaya, it is time. It is time. It's time for you. What I'm interested in is when Taylor is at the bottom 3 of the votes on Thursday night, is he getting voted off? That's my question. Are they going to get Timu PPG together and like the rest of the group together? And are they going to figure out how to get Taylor voted off once he's in the bottom 3 from the popular?
I want to break up Timu PPG. I can't with them.
I can't, yeah.
Any of them. I don't care. And I think Austin, I'd like to be done with Austin.
Yeah.
You know what? My bottom 2, honestly, if Chelley and Austin were bounced, I'd be thrilled. I don't think that's going to happen, but I would love that. I would love what it does to the villa.
You know what? To be honest, I think Olandria. You know what? I think they should have voted Olandria off. They should have kept Coco. They should have kept Coco and moved on from Olandria because she's not exploring. Her partnership is done. It's over for her.
The audacity of them to pretend they were eliminating Hannah for tunnel vision when Olandria basically has a periscope attached to Taylor's. What are we doing?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's it. And she should have been voted. As much as I love Olandria. Yeah. It should have been. She should have been voted off. Coco should have stayed. Coco was exploring. She had clearly other people would have been interested in her because she's smoking hot. And she should have been stayed. She should have stayed, and I would have been sad to see Olandria go. But her connection was over, and she had not explored. She
would have gone out on top in the power rankings.
Yeah.
So that's
that's all that matters.
It's been a rough couple days for her. Okay, so wrapping up with overtime. I watched the latest season of The Bear. Do you watch that show?
I stopped after season 2.
You picked the right time.
It was a little stressful. I've heard season 4 is a little rough.
Season 3 was really rough. Season 3 was just so like up its own butt. I don't know why I said butt there after saying stance 100 times. Season 4 was better for sure, but I still feel like it peaked in season 1 too, and really and now there's gonna be another season of it. I just kind of felt like the complaint from season 3 was like nothing happens, and more stuff happens in season 4. But I just didn't feel like most of the characters, just like big moments, were justified. I don't know. We watched the whole thing, so I guess if we're kind of going with like a skip it or stream it, I'm saying skip it. I didn't love it. So how about you?
Yeah. I started the studio. Finally.
Really?
Yeah, which is pretty interesting. It's a good show. I like the way that they delve into Hollywood. There's supposedly this episode that upcoming. I'm like season 3 episodes.
I know the one that you're talking about. Yeah, I watched the first 7. Yeah. I think you're talking about the one with Okay, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, and also people like the book thing, so I'm reading. Also now James, the book that won the National Book Award last year from Jim's perspective from Huckleberry Finn, which is about halfway through that, which is pretty good so far.
I was just reading a article on ESPN.com that was like getting book recommendations from NFL players. And every single one was like the 48 Laws of Power or it's like all the athlete books are almost always the same nonfiction where it's just the worst, like, or The Alchemist or... like the 4, whatever, they're always the same. And then one random Rams cornerback was like, I'm reading James and all the light we cannot see. I was like, like weirdly literary. Like,
cut him. He's not cut out for the NFL.
And then Leonard Williams is reading Tolstoy, which is funny. Yeah.
You know, a horrifying moment in my book journey was I got a Kirkus review, but like in the suggested reading, like, if you read this, you would like, and the next was 48 Laws of Power. And I was like, how did you, I was like, what? I was like, what? I was like, change it, please. Like, how is it possible?
Like AI making a mistake. There's no way that should. Right. Okay, that's it for next week. We will actually, I'm in London the following week. So producer Charlie is going to be stepping in for me. But I will be sharing my thoughts and maybe sending angry texts from overseas that I will demand that Charlie read out loud to yell. But in the meantime, please leave us reviews. Let me know if I'm being too hard on just about every single person on the show at this point. And I will be back after that.